The rain hammered against the window of my office, a relentless rhythm mimicking the pounding in my head. Another glass of rye didn't seem to dull the edges of the memory. The image of Lila Monroe's face, pale and desperate, hovering just behind my eyelids. She's vanished, just like that. One minute she was sitting across from me, spilling a tale of stolen artifacts and a collector of shadows, and the next nothing. It started with a visit to Blackwood Mansion. Crestwood, they called it. An oppressive pile of stone and secrets, perched high on a bluff overlooking the city. Blackwood himself, all controlled smiles and ice-cold eyes, had summoned me. Said he had information concerning his former partner, Arthur Monroe, and my investigation into his disappearance. A fool's errand, as it turned out. Mr. Arden, he said, the scent of expensive cigars clinging to the air. I believe I can shed some light on your client's troubles. He led me through a labyrinth of hallways, each one more opulent and lifeless than the last, finally stopping before a massive mahogany desk. The room was dimly lit, the only illumination coming from a single desk lamp casting long, distorted shadows on the walls. Arthur was a passionate man, Blackwood continued, his voice smooth and measured. He had a penchant for acquiring unusual items, antiquities mostly, Egyptian, I believe. He paused, letting the information sink in. I knew Arthur had been dabbling in antiquities. Lila had mentioned it. I didn't realize the extent of his obsession. He believed he had found something significant, Blackwood added, his eyes gleaming with an unsettling light. A piece of history, he called it. Something that could change everything. And what was this something? I pressed, leaning forward in my chair. Blackwood smiled, a slow, unsettling curve of his lips. That Mr. Harding is the question, isn't it? He then presented me with a file filled with photographs and documents pertaining to Arthur's acquisitions. Most of it was standard fare provenance reports, purchase receipts, shipping manifests. But there was one photograph that caught my attention. It was a picture of a fragment of pottery intricately decorated with hieroglyphs. Where did this come from? I asked, pointing to the photograph. Warehouse number 7, Blackwood replied casually. Arthur used it as a storage facility for his collection. I've been back to that warehouse. Found more than just pottery shards. Found mud, the kind that clings to your shoes, the kind that speaks of something disturbed. Sal DeMarco, sweating and jittery, delivered the message from Blackwood, and eating, late, at a waterfront diner. I found him pacing nervously outside. He's a decent kid, a pawn in a game far beyond his understanding. Blackwood wants to see you, he mumbled, avoiding my gaze. Said it's urgent. The diner was nearly empty, the neon sign buzzing overhead casting a sickly yellow glow on the rain-streaked windows. Blackwood was waiting, a single cup of coffee steaming on the table between us. He didn't waste any time. Leah has left, he said, his voice flat. She felt threatened. By whom? I asked, already suspecting the answer. He didn't respond directly. There are forces at work, Mr. Harding, that are beyond your comprehension. People who want to keep certain truths buried. Then came the confession, hesitant at first, then rushing forward with the desperation of a drowning man. The collector, he whispered, glancing nervously around the diner. He's the one pulling the strings. The collector, a name that had echoed in Lila's hushed tones, a shadowy figure who dealt in stolen artifacts and silenced those who knew too much. He wants something, Blackwood continued. Something Arthur possessed. A key, perhaps. Or a map. And what did he want from me? To ensure your silence, Harding. His gaze locked with mine, cold and calculating. I left the diner, the rain washing over me, each drop a stinging reminder of the mess I was in. Back at my office, I checked Lila's file again. There was something I was missing, a crucial piece of the puzzle. Then I noticed it as small, almost imperceptible detail. A photograph of Arthur Monroe, standing in front of a museum display case. The display case contained a hieroglyphic locket. I tracked down the museum curator. He confirmed that Arthur had been intensely interested in the locket, often requesting private viewings. He seemed to believe it contained a secret, the curator said, his voice tinged with a hint of wonder. Something about a hidden tomb, a forgotten dynasty. The locket, it wasn't just a piece of jewelry, it was a key, a map to something more. Suddenly, Sir burst into the office, his face pale and frantic. Harding, you got to get out of here. Blackwood, he's been asking questions. About you. What do you mean? He knows you're investigating Lila's disappearance, and he suspects you know more than you're letting on. I glanced at the window. A black sedan was parked across the street, its headlights reflecting in the rain-slicked pavement. Get out, I told Sal. Now. I grabbed my coat and headed for the door. Just as I was about to step out, I heard a crash from the back of the office. I spun around to see a figure silhouetted in the doorway. It was Blackwood. He was holding a blood-stained letter opener. I'm afraid this is unavoidable, Harding, he said, his voice dripping with malice. The letter opener glinted in the dim light. I lunged forward, knocking Blackwood off balance. We grappled on the floor, a desperate struggle for survival. Then, just as I thought I had the upper hand, Blackwood managed to plunge the letter opener into my arm. I yelled in pain, reeling back. Blackwood seized the opportunity, pinning me to the floor. He leaned in close, his breath hot on my face. "This ends here, Harding," he whispered. Just as he raised the letter opener for a final blow, the door burst open. A woman stood in the doorway, silhouetted against the light. It was Lila Monroe. She was holding a gun. She fired. The bullet struck Blackwood in the chest. He slumped to the floor, lifeless. Lila lowered the gun, her face a mask of cold fury. She stared at me, her predator's smile returning, sharper than before. "You were getting too close, Harding," she said, her voice devoid of emotion. "Some secrets are best left buried." She turned and walked out of the office, disappearing into the rain. I lay on the floor, my arm bleeding, the taste of blood in my mouth. I knew then that I was caught in a game far bigger than I could ever comprehend, and I knew that Lila Monroe was not who she seemed. She was the key to it all. The rain continued to fall, washing away the blood, but not the feeling of dread that settled deep within my soul. My investigation has brought me face to face with a darkness that threatened to consume everything. I need to find her. I have to know what she's hiding, and I know with chilling certainty that my journey has just begun. A cab hailed, destination unknown. The city lights blurred, reflecting the uncertainty of my future.